Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. I'm reading today for Libra and it's tinfoil hat time, so get your colander hats on. It's going to be one of those readings, but it's really beautiful and really magical. And Libras, you feel like you're in this kind of almost a privileged position, and I know instinctively a lot of you are going to be like, oh no, I feel really underappreciated right now. But it's like, okay, right now you may feel underappreciated, but it's like the universe absolutely seeing everything you do for other people. They see the beautiful magical blessings that you give to other people, whether that is just through things that you're doing, through the attitude of gratitude, through paying it forward, through just being a good person, through wishing other people well. It's like it's all being seen, and you are going to find yourself in a very blessed position energetically. What was I saying then? Energy. I don't know what I was saying then. I don't know if that meant something to somebody, came out funny. So you're going to find yourself in a position of actually holding a lot of kind of energetic power, I want to say. Very interesting. So going to get into it. I'm going to say as well, there is a touch of what's going on with NASA in this reading, so I don't want to kind of scare anyone with that, but again, a little bit tinfoil hat. So sometimes a lot of the things that are happening in real life are kind of reflected in movies and TV shows and things like this. So I don't want to take anything as like this is predictive or anything like that, but it's like things that are in the consciousness, things that people are thinking about. So again, don't want to, if you are kind of a little bit of a paranoid person, if you do get a little bit, if you tend to take readings as literal, I would say this is not the reading for you. It's very metaphorical. It's very much what people are thinking about. And just be careful, because what we think about, we bring about, right? Especially with manifestation up here. Again, big warning here at the end of the reading to be careful with that kind of power. So, okay, where do I start? Where do I start? They're telling me the man from Mars. Okay, you got, there's your reading, Libra, and there's another reading, your energy in this reading, and there's another energy. And I feel like it's that same Aquarian reading that was kind of floating around, kind of in collaboration with Virgo yesterday. You do end with this kind of whale song, and this kind of star whale does talk to me about that kind of Aquarian, alien-like energy. If you think about like David Bowie as Starman and that kind of like 80s kind of spacey pop era, it does have that kind of frequency to it. I'm saying frequency because it's like resonating. So I was kind of getting like 80s makeup. The song Rapture by Blondie came through, which is the man from Mars. He's eating cars. He eats Cadillacs, Mercuries and Subarus. And now he only eats guitars. So there's this thing about guitars. I was getting Lenny Kravitz. What's that? Are you gonna go my way? Kept on playing. So there's a proper guitar riff in that song. So I don't know if there's somebody who plays like electric guitar, really likes like riffing on the guitar, like Sweet Child of Mine, all that kind of stuff. I was kind of picking up on this real like rock star energy that came through again. I think in that Virgo Aquarius reading, I was talking about this kind of like motorbike guy kind of thing, which is funny because I woke up this morning with Bat Out of Hell in my head. Like a bat out of hell, I'll be gone when the morning comes. You've got this kind of like dust devil here. So you've got this kind of very kind of rock star, kind of almost, I want to say almost reckless, right? Like very different to your energy, but I want to say you're perfectly in balance with it in a strange way. So yeah, I was getting conspiracy theorist. What else? Yeah, I don't know. So the first two songs that came through for you were Poker Face and Men in Black by Will Smith. So you've got this whole like what you think you saw you did not see energy to you as well. You're very much like playing your cards close to your chest, being careful with the information that you're putting out. Again, like I'm doing in this reading, I'm being very careful to say this could be a TV show. There's stuff like Middle Earth type stuff that I'll get to, which could be Lord of the Rings, right? So there's things coming through that could just be what people are thinking about rather than what is actually predictive and what is actually happening. Just be really careful with kind of what you're saying and how you're saying it, because you don't want, like, I don't know, you seem like you're the Men in Black. You seem like the person saying, you know, what you thought that you saw you didn't see. You know, it's like a card trick almost, like a like poker face card trick. I don't know. So they're showing me again, somebody got like Maverick, you know, the TV, the film with Mel Gibson and Jodie Foster, Maverick, where they're playing poker. So again, that could be something in that too. The year 2022 could be significant for somebody, getting a lot of Venus energy, which is of course normal for you. Will Smith is Libra, Lady Gaga's Taurus, so both ruled by Venus. I was getting use your body to communicate. So this was really interesting to me. So I just felt suddenly, because I channel, I felt suddenly in this energy that was all to do with like resonant sounds, tones, vibrations, and it was almost like I started dancing. So I had music on and my room was really dark, my curtains were shut, my light was off, I even had my eyes closed, right? And I just started moving my body, and it was like in this way of being, now I love to dance and I am quite a sensual dancer, but I do it for me, I do it because I love my body in that kind of Venus way, right? I don't dance for other people, but I dance for myself. So I was kind of like really enjoying moving my body in this really kind of like sensual way and dancing to the music, eyes closed, and it was like the trust in my own body, in this physical environment, the physical space I was in, but also feeling almost like I was out of body. Now I wasn't taking anything, I wasn't on anything. It's just a state of mind, right? Where when you meditate a lot, you can get into these vibrations. So I was getting this very, very hippie like sensual dance state with my eyes closed. I've got my eyes closed again talking about it, and just really feeling the vibrations of the music running through my body and moving my body kind of in sync with that. So you've got this real flow energy to you, Libra. You've got they were showing me things like willows and rivers. It's like very very much like this in transit energy. It's like very go with the flow. It's very like flow with the universe, like no resistance. Wherever the universe is taking you, you are flowing with it in like complete harmony with the flow of time, the flow of nature, whatever this is for you, the flow of your life, like absolutely kind of like almost like at one with like there's no, this comes into your reading as well, there's no separation between you, your soul, your physical body, and the universe. It's all one big energetic vibration. It was almost like this dreamlike state, which is fascinating to me because this deck had the ghost dance on the underlying, and you know, it's almost like that's how I felt. So in that dark room, kind of with the light off, with my eyes closed, it was like I was part of the room itself. I was very, very physically aware of my environment. So it's also the ghost dance as well. It is a Native American thing. I'm not going to try and be an expert on that. I'm not. So you can go and Google that if you want more information on that. But that is actually like Native American custom and culture, which I want to say I don't want to kind of be, what's the word? Speaking on something that I'm not part of. So, but that sense, right? That energetic thing that runs through all things and all people can be tapped into by anyone. And I was very much tapping into that kind of from a completely different angle, right? From a completely different ankle, maybe something with somebody's ankle, from a completely different culture, from a completely different viewpoint, a different place in the world. I was coming into, and this is talking about this here, the same seed of energy, right? So it's like that universal energy can be tapped into around the world, which again, I'll kind of come to in that part of the reading there. I'm just kind of understanding it better as I'm talking about it. Anywhere with you, or a rehab. Somebody could have dyslexia. That pops up from time to time when I'm making my notes. I kind of really struggle to write. It's just a sign that somebody has dyslexia or something similar. There's a lot of stuff about shadows. You do something to me, Paul Weller. Okay, so Babel by Mumford & Sons. So I was getting press my nose up against the glass around your heart. I should have known I was weaker at the start. Okay, so going into the cards then. Okay, so you start Libra with this being carried by the universe, right? Being, you feel like you're releasing, you feel like you're not trying to control things, you're not trying to actively direct your life or manifest anything. You feel like you are in release mode. So very surrender, right? You're in surrender. So this almost spirit guide, again, Giraffe's talked to me about Aquarius energy, seems to be carrying you somewhere. So you seem to be in this state where you are in surrender and you're allowing spirit to, or some kind of guide of yours to just carry you where you need to go. Almost like a child being driven in a car, right? It's like this is, you're putting your trust in the universe to light the way, to lead the way. Now, the Two of Fire does talk about decisions, but it's almost like you have released the decision-making process to the universe. You're absolutely in this surrender mode, which I want to say is very high vibrational and beautiful and what's needed for you at this time. So it's almost Libra in your people say about Libra is you're very indecisive, right? And it's because it's very difficult sometimes for you to choose between like a rock and a hard place, or you know, two wrongs, you know, if they don't make a right. So you always take that center line, and that is absolutely your power, and it's absolutely what you're supposed to do. So being very, very balanced, being perhaps, because you've got moderation here, like being perhaps a natural moderator, a natural go-between, a natural advocate. You kind of had devil's advocate, got a bit of devil energy popping up here as well, but again, seeing the light in people, seeing the best in people. So you know, going back to your last reading, the idea of devil, like the devil being Lucifer, which is the light bringer. So being more like a Prometheus type of character who brings knowledge to the world. So you've got this real, like seeing the best of everybody, and we're all created in God's image. So therefore we're all a piece of God. You know, you've got this very, very, if this is your reading, if it's not, absolutely just leave it. You know, if it's not your reading, it's not your reading. But the energy that I'm picking up on, it's like, it's very, very in line with this Aquarian starman energy, because it's like everybody is equal. Everybody is a representative of God on earth, right? It's like everyone is a child of God. So therefore we're all God's favorite, is the way that it was coming out in the last reading. So if you go and check out Libra and Aquarius's last readings, all over the place, this kind of concept of we're all one, we're all in this together, very, very collective, very Aquarian. And I want to say you're in complete alignment with that. So being taken somewhere, and again, fascinating to me because this Four of Fire all over the place. So it was in the Virgo Aquarius reading yesterday as this kind of meeting spot of the fairies, right? It was like this party, this event, this gathering space, this secret garden in the woods where all the fairies would gather. And this fairy was kind of like one of the ones playing the flute or playing the music in order to, you know, by the vibration of the music, by the sound, by the energetic vibration, to lead all the other fairies into this secret place. So really, really beautiful. And in that reading as well, so the Virgo Aquarius reading, there was this thing about everybody carrying their lantern, right? Bringing their light, or bringing their soul, if you want to say, to this meeting spot, to this gathering place. So this is also occurring here for you. Again, it seems like you're being led, right? And this card as well, this exact same card I noticed came out in Sam Tarot's Libra reading yesterday. So you may want to also go and check that out. But you seem stuck. So before I get to that though, there's this, no, actually I'll do them in order. So you can see here the giraffe gets to this point where, you know, the universe can't take you any further. You have to take this next step alone, is kind of the thing. So you seem to be in this point where there is no decision for you to make. You know, you are in this place where you feel very, very stuck, so you can't move forward, is the way it's coming through. So I want to say that you actually become this fairy who sits down on that rock, right, on that spot, unable to move any further on your own, and so you start to play the same music, you play the same note, the energetic chord that is in alignment with all the other souls in this collective energy, that all the other fairies, right, who are on the same vibration as you, almost to call them to you. So it's like, I can't get to you, so you're going to have to come to me kind of energy to it. It's like, I've come as far as I can on this journey alone. So again, it's like almost like, here come the others, or something like that. So it's just fascinating to me. I love these kind of storytime readings because I get so engaged in them. It's like I could write a book with these storytime readings. So there's this thing again with the Two of Fire. It's almost like two of these fairies in separation, right? Or you know, in that story that came through in the Virgo Aquarius reading, it was like one of these creatures was a child, like a human child, and one of them was a fairy, Gossamer she was called, Mary and Gossamer, and they were absolutely like besties, right? And they were trying to spend time together, was the way it was coming through. So with this tree of life, there's two trees here absolutely intertwined. So I want to say this thing about the Two of Fire being the two trunks of these trees, right? The two separate trees who are absolutely intertwined like two pieces of DNA, or like this yin and yang energy. So I remember having I think it was a Libra reading, this thing, because you always do tend to come through with this tree imagery. And I remember you having this thing about an oak tree in one of your readings that was, you know, sturdy and strong and unmovable, right? Very, very sturdy because it supports the ecosystem around it. And yet you were coming in, Libra, with this kind of more flexible energy, like a willow, or like something that grows like a vine, or something that grows as like a birch tree or something. So something that is more flexible, more easy to bend and change direction. And it was like these two trees were absolutely like in this symbiotic relationship where they were supporting each other. It's like, yes, this oak tree may be this symbol of power, but the willow or the birch or vines, I know the vines can sometimes suffocate a tree, but this wasn't the analogy. The analogy was support, right? It was like the backbone, or reinforcing the oak was the way it was coming through. And so these two trees absolutely symbiotically, like their branches growing together, their roots growing together. It was very, very beautiful. And so you have this analogy back again. It's like you and this other, and again, it could be the two parts of yourself, right? The masculine and feminine part of you, the yin and the yang, the sturdy part of you and the flexible part of you, absolutely working in perfect harmony with each other, and knowing when to be in surrender, knowing when to be, you know, knowing that when the landscape shifts, it's better to adopt a different version of this tree. So the oak tree stands really firm in the forest, right? In deep, fertile soil. It's very sturdy. But willows are particularly good at growing on the banks of trees near the banks of rivers, where the earth is much waterier, right? And it's much more soft and shiftable. So the willow's perfect for that. So different trees for different environments, and yet completely supportive and able to adapt and switch to whatever is necessary depending on the circumstances that are changing around you, is the way that that's coming through. So in that mindset of being able to shift your energy, not only are you able to stand still and firm and strong like an oak tree when you need to, you're also good at shifting and bending and flexing when you know that that's needed. So there's a brilliant Annie DiFranco song that's called Buildings and Bridges, and it says, what doesn't bend breaks. So they're showing me now a suspension bridge, right? How it swings in the wind, and that's why it doesn't break. So or bouncy skyscrapers in Japan. I believe LA also has this kind of like springy foundation. So this idea that you have to remain flexible, and this could be talking about your age as well and your physical body. So you could be actually genuinely being asked to dance, to move your body. The reason why I started doing this in the first place actually was because my shoulders had become very stiff. I was kind of on the computer and I was like, I've been holding this position for a while. I need to roll my shoulders. I need to move my neck. And I thought, what better way than do this kind of almost interpretive dance kind of thing. So that's what I started to do. So to whatever song came on as well. you know, whether it's like a hip hop song or, you know, something more salsa-y, or, you know, whatever came on, I was just moving in, in like the universe was picking the song, was the way it's coming through. I just shuffled songs, and whatever the vibration of the song was, I moved in harmony with it. So this is what you're doing. You're being flexible. You're being you are in flow with whatever is going on that's out of your control, and it's working for you. So in this idea of like changing from the very, very firm oak to the very flexible birch or willow tree, and then even further into a state where you are no longer a tree at all. Now you are part of it. This could be a meditation exercise as well. You may want to, you know, do this on your own, like listen to some meditation music. TM Soft has some brilliant meditation sounds, TM Soft, so just go look for it on Spotify. Brilliant list of meditation things. But you may want to do this. You may want to imagine, like, stand really tall and firm like an oak tree, then imagine you're a willow tree and kind of move more with the wind, and then just become the wind, right? Become atoms in space. And this is how you move past that problem, because here you kind of hit this block where physically you couldn't move forward anymore because there was no more land to stand on, like the oak tree, right? So you become atoms, you become dust, is the way it's coming through with this brilliant kind of dust devil moving out of stagnation. So you were stuck, right? It's almost like the four ones that celebrate the four pillars or the four corners of your life, right? It could be like your home, right? Or the rules and regulations, the box that you grew up in. So if you think about like the 4 points, it creates this kind of box shape. So it's like to get out of that. So what's really fascinating to me as well is like this square has this circle inside it. So there is something with this, it's almost like a basketball hoop or something to me. Which I think I'll kind of, no, I'll say that now because I don't know, just be really careful if you're playing like playing ball games anywhere near glass and windows. There's a place where I go to where they've got like these old, it's a really old building, it's like a Tudor building, and it has a sign outside on the grass saying no ball games because the windows are so historical, right? They're protected. But it's almost like with this hole here and this kind of like smashing of the mirror, and then all this thing about like the balls, it could be that, you know, just be really careful, because make sure you've got your insurance and things like that, because I don't know if kids are playing, you know, a ball could come through the window, basically is the way that that's coming through. Or like throwing stones, right? Throwing stones to break the glass ceiling, something like that is coming through there. But it's like to change the situation, you have to change the shape of you, right? You have to be, if you want your life to be different, you have to be different. You have to live a different way. You have to adopt a different version of you to move forward, to pass go, to get on to the next level, is the way it's coming through. So you turn into this, like look at the kind of rainbow on this jacket as well. It's like you turn into this spirit version of yourself. You turn into this non-solid version of yourself. You turn from solid to a liquid to a gas, if you like. And then if you think about this in terms of physics, so it sounds bonkers, but in physics, now you can look into this. The idea that this is solid is actually an illusion, right? This table is not solid, because when you get down to like a molecular level, like an atom level, there's more space than there is actual solid atoms, and you know, the tiny things that kind of make up matter. There's actually more air, and it's constantly moving. These atoms are like constantly moving. So the idea that this is solid and fixed is not true. It's actually made up more of the spaces between the solid things. So the only reason why we perceive it as solid is because our hand is also made up of the same matter and the same density, and you know, you can't push through it. So if you want to think about that in terms of like, have you ever seen the bottles that have water and oil in, and the oil and water sit completely separated, because even if you swish it up, the oil and water will re-separate because they're made of different densities. So we're talking about different densities that make up matter now, which again, a lot of physics comes out in the reading. I don't know why, I'm not a physicist. It comes from when this Aquarian starman energy comes into visit. It's like one of my guides. I get a lot of physics with it. So it happens. It's like they're trying to educate me or something. I'm like, I don't get it. Forgetting the names of everything, like the glue ones and everything like that, right? You change form, you turn into, and perhaps again it is meditation, or going into some kind of like trance state, however you do that, where you go, you move beyond your physical body into, and again, this is not crazy talk, this is what people regularly do when they meditate, right? They regularly envision this. Where do you go when you dream, So you leave the physical body behind, and your soul continues this journey, is the way it's coming through. And then you go out. So it's like you go into space, or you go beyond. And you're looking at the world with this kind of like bird's eye view, where you are... you have this higher perspective. You have this kind of like worldly view of what's happening through the eyes of, like, I studied humanities, right? So it's like, if you look at history, you start to see patterns, and you start to see, you've got this whole thing about like time folding in on itself as well. It's like history folding in on itself, time folding in on itself. It's like you have this outsider perspective on everything that's happening within the world itself, where you've got this kind of almost disconnected higher perspective. It's like you've been granted the ability to look through the eyes of this star whale, right? This starman, this man on the moon, the man from Mars, the whale alien god that's up in space, right? Whatever you want to call it. It's like you are now able to see from their perspective, and from this very, very high Aquarian view. Perhaps you have strong Aquarius placements in your chart. I don't think I have any Aquarius in my chart. But it says needing direction, lost in space, needing direction. Now I'm channeling songs like Ricochet, which came through for a couple of other readings, I think, last week, which is a Taylor Swift song, sorry. And it's a very sad song. It's talking about, as though she's singing from the perspective of somebody who is passed on, right? She's saying, "You're at my wake." So she's talking from the voice of spirit, somebody who is in spirit. She says, the line that's kind of sticking in my head is, I can go anywhere I want. I can go anywhere, just not home. Right? And home being perhaps the mortal physical body. So I don't know if somebody's cross-watching for a Libra who has passed over, especially if you had a very stormy relationship with them. I want to say, if anyone's cross-watching, because I'm getting like... when Libra comes in, I get multiple energies in a way that is telling me people are cross-watching. So sometimes I get this very, very low vibrational Libran energy. And if that's you, then, and you're not that you're low vibrational, if you're cross-watching and you're dealing with a very low vibrational Libra, I'm not reading for them today. I've had enough of that energy for the time being. I want to talk to my lovely Libras who are doing the work. So just to kind of make that clear, if your Libra is horrible, not talking about them. So anyway, this like being completely like beyond the earthly body, but not knowing what to do with this. Like, I have this ability, I have this power, perhaps. What do I do with it? I need more direction here. Asking God to have direction. So again, with this flourish card, again, it's talking to me about the higher perspective. So it's looking to me almost like, if I do it like this, it's like climbing the tree to get the higher view of the forest, right? It's like not being down amongst the hustle and bustle of daily life, but I don't know, climbing to the roof and looking down on the city, or climbing to the top of the tree and seeing the whole forest, right? So because you've grown these wings now, right? Because you have the ability to fly now, is the way it's coming through. So because, again, maybe astrally projecting, in astral projection, you gain this higher perspective, this higher wisdom, where you've gone... It's like, because it's the lotus, right? The lotus flower tells you to learn from experience. The roots are your experience, the roots are the past, and the branches are the future. And you've gone beyond that, and shed your inner light on any unclear areas of your life or those of others. So you've discovered your inner light, and you're doing something with it where it's like you're helping to raise the vibration of the planet, or you're showing people how to follow you, like how to climb that tree after you is the way it's coming through. So the lotus flower always talks about coming from, and dragonflies as well, she's almost got these like gossamer dragonfly wings. So it's like coming from a difficult background, coming from hardship, or coming from perhaps a difficult family life, or a difficult community, or just a swampy past. Again, the kind of willows and those kind of very bamboo as well, another example of kind of a something that flourishes in a very watery environment. So you have flourished in this environment where other people perhaps didn't, right? And then you see all these like flowers, like these, not flowers, why did I say flowers? These butterflies, it's like they're following you, right? You're, I don't know, there's also something about, I'm going to come back to that in a second actually. So, yeah, you've flourished despite the obstacles, right? Despite the problems that kind of were put in your way, despite the indecision, despite feeling directionless, in simply surrendering and going with the flow, you've gained some kind of upper world, high vibrational achievement that's been recognized by the universe, I want to say. And so she really is like poking her head out at the top of the forest. Now, in meditation the other day, I was working on chakras and figuring out the visually what the chakras say to me. So this kind of level of being, the roots themselves are the root chakra, and then when you become like here in the kind of like shadows of the kind of, what's it called, the under, I can't think what the word is now, but you know, like the low shrubs and things like that. So if you think about how a panther moves, this is like the second chakra to me. And then the heart chakra to me is the canopy itself, like the parts that bear fruit. And then when you go beyond that, this kind of like above the canopy is your throat chakra, it's your voice, it's your ability to express yourself. So you're expressing yourself because you've risen through those other chakras, right, to this higher chakra. And I want to say you're going right up there to the crown chakra, which is, to me, visualized by outer space. So the third eye chakra to me is like like where you would see like our upper atmosphere, so like where the aurora borealis would be, right? It's like, or where the clouds would be the sixth chakra to me. And then the crown chakra to me is outer space, where you come into contact with like the star beings. I'm sorry, I keep knocking into that. I don't know if this is anything to do with the reading. My legs are a little bit hairy, I'm sorry, I do need to shave them today actually. I use an epilator, so sometimes I miss a little bit, but I've been like leaning against my the handle of my drawers, and it's left like an imprint on my leg. So I'm just going to kind of show you that imprint there on my leg. I don't know why, it feels like it could be significant for some reason. Maybe something to do with like coming into contact with this other energy and it leaving an imprint on you and leaving a mark on you, which is interesting because I'm going to say that here. So when I was meditating on this idea, now when I'm in meditation, I often go through mirrors. I go from one space to another through mirrors and through glass. It's how I move when I'm meditating. And it can talk about you know, portals and things like this. So very, very common. It's common practice for me to do that now when I'm meditating. And sometimes you can get right in the glass, so in that kind of in-between space where you're not in one realm and you're not in the other realm, you're in this kind of like yeah, just this in-between void space in the, you know, especially if you look at old mirrors, like in the in-between of the glass. And so this is talking to me, like the actual glass itself of the mirror, it talks to me about the separation of spaces. So if you think about, again, going back to like oil and water and air, there's almost like a film, right, on the surface of the water that acts as like a very, very thin barrier between the water realm and the air realm. So this is all talking about, this is very much what your reading is talking about. And it is very, I told you, it's very tinfoil hat. So So please bear with me. It may make sense, it may not, and that's okay. Whether it makes sense or not, just that's okay. If it's not making sense to you now, if it's not something you're understanding, if it's not something you're comfortable with, it's just not the time for you to hear this message, right? So you're on a different path, you're on a different part of the journey than the people who this is like, oh my God, yes, this makes sense to me. So, and again, a lot of it is metaphorical. So with this vanishing mirror, ego sublimation or sublimation, it's like when you let go of yourself, right? When you let go of the you, the vehicle, the physical, this is who I am, and you become part of the, when you turn back to atoms and you become part of everything, right? That collective kind of one energy. You know, when you let go of your ego, then that veil is thinned. So there's something about this thinning of the veil, or the blurring of the separation between two planes of existence or two worlds. So it could be talking about the dream space and the physical, tangible world, or, you know, the manifestation space. I want to say it's like manifestation space and physical space. And it's like there's this, it's almost like two worlds overlapping, two worlds, even for the briefest moment of time, connecting, because you then have this, I'm just going to briefly say that you've got cats. Spirit, claim your independence. Cats could be particularly significant to you. Cats, you know, as well, I was talking about panthers here. Cats are particularly good at climbing trees, so you are coming through with this kind of cat energy, but take it or leave it. Fascinating to me as well, just kind of look at the similarity between these two. Like, it's like this cat has wings. If I had wings, I could fly. Yeah, so that cat really is just telling me about how no matter how kind of physically stuck you may feel in your environment, you know, with that kind of Eight of Swords energy, if you know the traditional meaning of the Eight of Swords in the tarot, as being very, very stuck, going like spiritually beyond that stuck place in a way where you are in complete surrender. But it's also, even though you are becoming part of everything, it's actually making you more independent. It's kind of the energy of I could be bounded in a nutshell and call myself a king of infinite space. It's like the yes, physically you could be locked in a room, but spiritually you are the spirit, the soul goes, you know, the persona, whatever that is, it goes beyond, it's part of everything, so it cannot be contained, it cannot be trapped, is the way that it's coming through. Okay, so this goes then into this. So it's like it's like you keep going up. So you start here, and again, it could be something to do with you meditating and using your chakras. So it's like you go up and you come out through this canopy of trees, like the cat climbing the tree, right? And you break through this first barrier, right? You break through this first thing that was blocking your view, right? So this first layer that was blocking your view, and you get higher than that, and then it's like you continue going higher and bursting through these layers that are blocking your view. So this is looking to me like the ozone layer, right? It's looking to me like the so again, talking about going up through the chakras, like going beyond the, so being able to at first get out of the woods and see the woods for the trees, right? Beyond the canopy, and then going higher still and bursting through the actual like atmosphere of the planet. So if I do it like that, it's like bursting through like this, right? It's like you burst through the atmosphere of the planet and get this kind of like, it's not even a bird's eye view, right? It's like this God's eye view of the whole. So very, very, very high perspective, but then it's like you get like beyond the canopy. This space to me is talking about beyond the canopy, but within the atmosphere. So the world itself is coming through to me like a fish tank, like a fish bowl, right? So if you have ever looked in a fish tank and you get down to like the fish's level and you look up, the surface of the water is reflective, it's a mirror. You can't actually see, or if you've just been underwater in like the ocean, when you look up you cannot see beyond the barrier, right, that's separating those two planes. So this is where NASA's coming in, right, with the Artemis rocket. So it's like, this is talking to me about the in-between space. So being above the canopy of trees, but looking up at so the atmosphere would be here, right? The ozone layer or whatever, our Earth's atmosphere. The limit of that would be sort of like this, like being in the planet, would be here. And then it's like everything just gets mirrored back to you. You can't see beyond that. You've got a limited perspective. So limited here, going beyond that, limited again, going beyond that. There's all these like different, pushing through these different limits of perception. So there's something like, if you use the analogy of the Truman Show, right? Jim Carrey in the Truman Show, he's living in that created world, right? It's not the real world. It's a sitcom. And yet, you know, it's got a sky. They do the weather cycles and things like this. So, and then at the end, he kind of opens. Sorry if you haven't seen it. He kind of opens that He opens that door and steps out of the set. So it's like coming to. It's almost Jim Carrey in that moment where he reaches the. It's like he reaches the edge of the set, right? He reaches the edge of our atmosphere, our set, the edge of the world, kind of thing, literally. And it's almost like that is, it's like a mirror. It's like reflects back, kind of a bit like, you know how they say that the sky reflects the sea and the sea reflects the sky. It's like there's all this mirror, but then it's like with this vanishing mirror, it's like breaking through that vanishing point, breaking through that, you know, the limit of your perception, right? It's like you're continually doing this. So, and then you go to the upper world, right? Then it's almost like this is the starman waiting for you, is the way it's coming through. And can you see how it's mirrored, right? It's like it's almost like, and again, a little bit batshit crazy here. It's funny you have bat out of hell, right? It's like, I don't know if you're the bat out of hell. It's like, I'm a bat out of hell, I'll be gone when the money comes. So it's like this starman, right? This alien star whale Doctor Who like energy is up there outside of the set, right? This is like you know, the father figure, like the god figure, the father figure in the Truman Show. It's like he's out there looking in at you, right? Like looking, it's almost like eye to eye, because you have this thing as well, again, in Aquarius and Libra's reading. Libra had this thing last week about the eye in the sky, right? And it was almost like shouting at God. It was like, you had Rewrite the Stars as well at one point. It's like saying you take all of us or you take none of us, you know? But because you were God's favourite, it was like they were saying, well, then, you know, I'll have to either sacrifice all of them or take all of them, right? It was like, you made us in your image, you know, so just this idea of like, is God's love unconditional or conditional, and all this kind of stuff, right? That was coming up in the last set of readings. I don't want to go into that too much, but go and check it out if you don't remember it. So Libra and Aquarius particularly. So it's like you're standing up for the dust devil. Again, Aquarius had this kind of thing quite strongly as well, where I was talking about the episode of Doctor Who where he stood on, what's her name, Karen Gillan, Amy Pond. So he stood on the rooftop of this hospital, and there's this alien, like, it's like these aliens that kind of police the solar system, and it's represented as like this big eye, and he's saying to them, this earth is protected. So this is like the eye of God, or this alien creature kind of like looking in, but like looking almost like right at you. It's like eye to eye through the looking glass, like you and them, eye to eye is the way it's coming through, like this, right? On either side of the glass, like almost like a stare down. And then something happens where, and I want to use the analogy of the rocket ship, right? I'm a rocket ship on my way to Mars on a collision course. I am a satellite. So this idea of like the rocket or the rocket man, which could be you. Again, it's coming through like, I'm a bat out of hell, I'll be gone when the morning comes. So it's like this, I'm going to say it's like the spaceship itself. It's like Artemis I itself having a voice. So it's unmanned, I believe. So like we don't have to worry about anything like that. Although I did have a very worrying dream last night, but I will not bring that into. I'm going to be careful what I speak about, that I don't bring about it. But so it's like it's like the rocket ship, right? Like blast off, going up through the Earth's atmosphere, right? Through And it's almost like a shock to this. It's like, oh my God, you know, I'm going to take a step, like a ball coming through the window. It's like having to go, oh my goodness. So this rocket ship like smashing through the ozone layer. But in doing so, it's almost like, and again, I don't want to scare anyone. It's almost like, you know, when they say, you know, on a spaceship, if the glass shatters, it's like this, or like a black hole, it's like this idea of like getting sucked in on itself. I don't like, I'm not speaking that into existence. It's just this idea of like, you know, when you break the seal between two different environments, sometimes you get suction. So like a balloon, say you had a balloon and you pop the balloon, like the way the atoms work, because there's a, wait, hang on, let me get this right. So there's more molecules inside the balloon, right? You've blown molecules into the balloon, which has made it expand. Is that the right way round, or am I getting it the wrong way round? And so the air around has less molecules in it. So no, it's the other way around, isn't it? No, whichever way around it is. I need to go back to physics class. And then it's like when you break the seal, when you break the film between those two environments, there's an equalization, right? Where the molecules rush to fill the void space, and you get an equalization, which is why the balloon deflates. So it's a very similar thing. It's like as the surface of the water pops, or as the you know, the rocket bursts through the ozone layer, there's an equalization of the pressure. I'm not saying this is happening, right? I'm not saying that this is literally what's going to happen, but I'm saying this is what they're talking to me about. Again, it could be collective worries. I don't think that's what's going to literally happen. And if it does, it's almost like a wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey, like things lining up energy rather than like anything else. So it's like as this happens, as the rocket goes out, something comes in, right? It's like it's almost like a flip, right? As one thing exits the atmosphere, one thing comes in. And I feel like this is what I'm not meant to say. This is where we're getting into like Men in Black territory. So if there's no more videos, that's why. So it's like as the rocket exits, the Starman comes in. Like, it's just a story, guys. It's just a story. Don't panic, right? He's eating cars and playing guitars. That's all. So he's like, it's like he gets sucked in, right? He's like, he's there. I love it so much. It's like he's there peeking in. The surface breaks. He gets suctioned into our atmosphere. I'm saying he, she, they. As this kind of Lucifer, like dust devil, falling angel character, right? But it's like they're not bad. They are like the sun itself, right? They are this beacon of light and hope and knowledge. Like they're this really old star whale energy, and it's like they come into our atmosphere and fall in. And then the way it was coming through visually to me, now these cards didn't come out, this came through in meditation, but these cards visually depict what I was getting visually in meditation. So these cards did not come out at this part of the reading, because it feels like this is not your story, right? This is the other. So your story is that you're breaking out of the atmosphere in a way, like you are on the world side view, and then it's like this other, right, who you are, your destiny is intertwined with, is as you are exiting the atmosphere, they're coming in, right? So they come in with this like falling to earth, splashing into the water, and then being in the water energy, like this. Do you see? Like, it's fascinating to me. I love it just as a story. And then there's something fascinating here with it, kind of like it coming back out of the water, like it being a bubble, like it being almost like, you know, The Abyss, the film The Abyss. It's like coming back out of the water in this bubble, and then it's like you see because it's something like, it's something because of the vibration, right? Because of the sounds, because of the notes, because of the energy of it. And it's very, very, again, it's very high vibrational. It's like an angel, right? And it's completely in line with you, Libra, and your values and your goodness, right? It's like it sees your goodness, it values your goodness. So it's like, it's almost like being delivered, like, or being birthed. You see this orb here. So it's like, again, like with this idea of like the ball coming through. So like the ball coming through, and then kind of like rising out of the water, but it's made of the water is the way it's coming through. Do you see? It's like it's got its own atmosphere, it's got its own barrier, is the way it's coming through, but it's like it's the same as the water, because the jellyfish are kind of like attracted to it. They're attracted to the frequency of it, the vibration of it, the sound it makes, like if you think of whale song. So again, it's very metaphorical. It could just be somebody who matches you vibrationally, right? They dream the same dream, they want the same thing. I was kind of getting I asked about this card, so I got a song specifically for this card, and you got Heaven's What I Feel by Gloria Estefan. Heaven's what I feel when I'm with you. So I can't sing it. I love it. I blast it out, but I cannot sing it. So it's like this, again, it's like eye to eye, or like two paths intertwined, like the meeting point, something like that. It's like because you mirror each other, because you're exactly the same vibrationally, is the way it's coming through. So like the jellyfish and the whale, it's like there's a energetic match here. So perhaps you identify as a starseed, right? And this is like the mothership coming back to Earth. I don't know. Very out there. Again, I told you it was tinfoil hat. Like, not saying it's the aliens, but it's the aliens. That kind of thing, like Men in Black. So again, just want to kind of cover my own back here. I am talking about things that are going on in the collective consciousness. So that things that collectively we as people are thinking about on the planet at the moment. NASA's firing a rocket into space. That's why that's coming through. When NASA's doing rocket and space stuff, people start thinking about aliens. You know, there's a lot of people taking psychedelics again. So, you know, all that kind of stuff that came up in like the 60s and things like that, in the 50s, you know, these things are coming back into the collective consciousness, you know. So, you know, X-Files, Men in Black, all that kind of stuff. So I'm not saying like literally we're getting an alien on the planet, you know. I'm not saying that literally. I'm saying that it's the storyline that's coming through. And again, when this kind of thing gets into the collective consciousness, it manifests in storytelling. So books, media, news stories, films, TV shows, like Doctor Who, right? So it's just a vibration. It's just a story. The Men in Black do not need to come for me. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like ready to catch it, right? Ready to catch, ready to receive the magical blessings, ready to catch the falling angel is the way it's coming through. Like humanity, I want to say, is ready for this. And it is coming through as extremely, extremely positive. This is magical blessings. Whatever you're going through, you're being assisted by magical fairy blessings. The fairies say you can bless others too. So it's almost like, also this thing about like, going to the party, right? Going to the secret garden. It's like the other starseeds, the other fairies are ready to receive you, or to receive these blessings. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like they're waiting with open arms, and they're sending you good energy. I love it so much. It's so nice. So then I want to say as well, there's a big increase in numbers here. So fascinatingly to me, so we start off with like 2, 4, then we get like 15, 13, 15, and then 41, 36, and then we go into the 50s. So it's a little bit out of order, a little bit out of sync, but you've got 57, 58 from the same deck, 59 from a different deck, missing a couple, but then you go 61, right? So you've got this increase. So if you feel like there's stagnation, you've got moving out of stagnation. If you feel like there's no movement, it's like a rocket ship, right? It's like 0 to 60 is the way it's coming through. Literally, like 2 to 61, 0 to 60 is like rocket power. So things could happen very quickly for you, Libra, I want to say. So again, I want to say that you've got this thing coming through about like, who's the fairest of them all, with the mirror, right? Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? So the queen in Snow White asks this, right? So again, I want to say there's a time between Libra and Scorpio, because Scorpio last week was coming through with Maleficent being like this, because mal, right, means bad. This kind of like, this dark, this kind of like black angel, this Lucifer type creature who is protecting Sleeping Beauty. And again, there's this kind of like more Maleficent type. I want to say it's not Maleficent though. This is the thing. It's almost like misunderstood, where it's this Maleficent type, or like this queen, Snow Queen, or whatever, is saying, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And like she's expecting to see herself, right? But she sees Snow White. So it's like, again, it's like this, the evil queen falling in love with the princess kind of energy to it. Not that I think anything's evil. Again, like, you don't think anything's evil. You absolutely see the light in everybody, Libra. You're very, very, again, moderate in that way. So mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? And I want to say you are, Libra, because at the end here you have this golden apple. So not only do you have Snow White's apple kind of thing, but it's not, I want to say it's not negative, although maybe be careful. I don't know. I'll come back to that. It's coming through to me like with this story of basically how the Trojan War started. So 3 of the Greek goddesses were in this garden. Is it the Garden of the Hesperides or something like that? I want to say, I could be wrong on that one. That is not, that's one of Socrates's moving statues. That's a true opinion, not a true knowledge. I think it's the Garden of the Hesperides, but I'm not 100% sure on that. That's a moving statue. So repeating myself, I'm sorry. There could be somebody around you who does that and repeats themselves a lot. There's it's coming through with the story. Why is this not coming through? It's like Men in Black, like what you think you saw you did not see. It's like memory wipe. So the Garden of the Hesperides, I want to say, the 3 goddesses were in this garden. It was Aphrodite, Athena, and Hera. And so the god of love and beauty, the god of wisdom, and the god of marriage and the home. And there's a Eris, I think she was called, this trickster goddess, was not invited to this party. So she throws in this golden apple into the garden, and it says, to the fairest on it. And the goddesses start to squabble over this. I'm the fairest, pick me, pick me. And they choose this mortal, Paris of Troy, to judge who is the fairest. And they promise him lots of lovely things. So Aphrodite Venus promises him the most beautiful woman, the most beautiful mortal, which happens to be Helen, right? Helen of is it Sparta she's from? Mycena. Again, not, I get mixed up very easily. Yeah. So who's already married, which is where the problem comes in. And Hera says, I will grant you power and armies. And Athena says, I will give you armies and I will give you the knowledge of how to use them, and all this kind of stuff. So they're all promised different things by these 3 goddesses. And, who's the fairest, who's the most beautiful. And he does pick Aphrodite. And Aphrodite is the goddess of love and beauty. So seems legit. So I want to say, Libra, even because you're ruled by Venus, right? You're ruled by the planet Venus, by Aphrodite. You may be very, very beautiful, or you may not be. The way that it's coming through is coming through as a pun on fairest. So beauty aside, looks aside, you are getting this golden apple. You are winning this prize because you are the most moderate. Right? You are the most fair-minded. You are the kindest. You are the most considerate. You are the one most likely to share the wealth. Again, with that very Aquarian, again, you could have an Aquarius placement, with that very Aquarian way of thinking about everybody else before you put you think about everybody else before you think about your own needs. You want to make sure everybody else has enough to eat. You don't just sit there eating it. Well, I do actually. I've got a very big appetite, but it's like you are fair. You share. Right? You are moderate. Is there something you shouldn't be eating? Try to eat mindfully and healthily, although the fairies say a little bit of what you fancy is fine. So again, there could be a message here about your physical body, your physical health, what you're eating. Make sure you're moving your body, make sure you're respecting your body, make sure you're honoring your body through movement, through dance, through exercise, through nutrition. But I want to say more is that you are being given the golden apple. You are being chosen because you are the fairest in terms of like the kindest, right? Like showing those true qualities of a Disney princess, right? What a Disney princess should be, like all those beautiful, very feminine qualities. of just being a good person. And then it's like you seem to be sitting down at the table again because you match this other energy, like the vibration of this other energy, you match them in some sort of way. It's like you're chalk and cheese, right? Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Like, this is the man from Mars, you are ruled by the goddess Venus. So it's like you're different sides of the table, right? Different trees in the forest, but at the same time it works perfectly in this kind of like yin and yang kind of way. So because you're matching them vibrationally in terms of, again, shared goals, shared dreams, shared visions, wanting the same thing, you're sitting down at the table with this other energy. And it's like you're being granted the power of manifestation is the way that I'm seeing it. Can you see, I'm seeing this as you holding the golden apple, right? Being given this gift, like this literal, it's like an Ace of Pentacles, this literal gold gift by this kind of King Midas type character who has the gift of manifestation. So it's coming through like King of Pentacles, Queen of Pentacles, Emperor kind of energy. This person who's able to, it's like everything they touch turns to gold. You know, they could be very, very good at generating wealth or material things. But it's like there's some kind of, at the same table, or some kind of collaboration thing happening here where you are matching beautifully, like you are matching equally. So can you see how this person's like literally, they're just with a wave of their wand, like the rose is gold, these are all gold. You know, they've got this gold apple here, which I want to say they give to you. It's like it's nothing to them, right? Like they can generate that easily. It's nothing to them, but you know, to you it's this beautiful gift. And yet I want to say you're giving something back energetically. You're giving something, it's like almost like these energetic waves are going in their direction, right? It's like you are, or you're teaching them how to, because if you think about the story of King Midas, which came through in yesterday's reading, right? The greedy king, the king who locked up the girl to force her to, it's like because you have the golden touch too, there's something to do, making me think of like the emperor and the woman of the woods in the last reading, is kind of like the advisor to the king energy. It's like you are, maybe this is a third energy, maybe you are the woman of the woods, right? Who is in contact with this Starman character, right? It's like you can access information that King Midas wants. It's like you tell the king how to alchemize things. So it's like, God, what's happening? Be very honest and clear about what you wish to manifest in your life. Now write it down on paper. Manifestation step one. It's like you are being granted the power of, like, the power of manifestation, because unlike King Midas, you are going to use it in moderation, right? You're not going to be, you don't have the greed, you don't have the ambition, you don't have the ego, because your ego kind of got mixed in with everybody else, right, at this point. So it's like, because you are, it's like you are being granted this power because you're not going to use it in the way that those kings would use it, is how it's coming through. So fascinating, absolutely fascinating reading to me. It's like everything you touch turns to gold. So be careful what you touch, right? And be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you speak into existence, basically. Oh, when this thing landed as well, it was like something coming back into orbit. So it could just be, again, it could just be when a rocket goes orbit, it has the booster rockets that fall off and they come back down to Earth. So it could just be like the booster rockets, like re-entering the atmosphere, being very, 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 very hot, and falling back into the sea with like this, like, fizz, you know, like this, like the steam coming off it. It could just be something like that. Again, I don't want to kind of like scare anyone. Just careful what I speak into existence. So, yeah, and that idea of like the song, like talking about the rocket, I can go anywhere I want, I can go anywhere, just not home. It's like I can explore this galaxy. So it's just fascinating, the songs that are coming through. Let me just get my notes, because it's funny as well, I've put my notes on a couple of NASA images that they posted to Instagram yesterday. My phone's so dirty. Hold on, I'm gonna just clean my phone and kind of like show you these images. Hold on. I don't know why this reading's so hairy. I'm like, I'm not shaved my legs yet. And then there was a hair on my phone as well. It's like this alien's coming down like this lizard and it's going, ooh, why is everybody so hairy? Ooh, mammals. I don't know. Maybe you've got a cat and it's like a cat that's molting because because it's been so hot and there's like cat hair everywhere. I don't know. I've got really long hair, so I do get hair everywhere. Hang on, let me just show you this image. Okay, so there's like these 3 images. I hope I do it the right way. I'm not going to do it the right way. Hold on. So here's the second one. And there you go, there's the third one. Just being careful I don't like flash a picture of my arse or anything on the internet. So that is, I'm calling it the Phantom Zone. So the little blurb on Instagram, again, it's NASA if you want to go and look it up. It says it's the Phantom Galaxy located in the constellation Pisces, and the Webb telescope is looking at this. So it's fascinating to me because it looks like this spiral shape that kind of came through at the end of Cancer's reading. It looks like this kind of like wormhole, you know, like the start of Doctor Who, like ooh. It's like it's got that kind of like look to it. I think it's absolutely fascinating. Like how cool, right? The Phantom Zone. It's like Superman. Yeah, I've got my notes on these images because I just thought they were beautiful and fascinating. So, bat out of hell, within these walls, rewrite the stars. So, she says, we're able to be who we are within these walls, but when you step outside, you're going to wake up and see. So there's this idea of like within these walls, within these confines, within these boundaries, within these rules, within this atmosphere. And then it says, I got a quote, I got sentences given to me, and it said, out there, you are who you need to be. Within these walls, you are who you want to be. So there's something about, and then to be or not to be. So there's something about, perhaps if this is a relationship with somebody, like when you are in your bedroom, right, they can be who they truly want to be. They can be their true selves. They can let their soul shine, right, and really, you know, express that inner self, that hidden self. But outside in the world, perhaps this person has to wear a mask or play a particular role or meet society's expectations in a certain way. So this idea of like, you have to be who you need to be. Again, a bit like Superman, this idea of like wearing a mask, right? Having a secret identity. So it's like having to be who you need to be, or Batman as well, like the hero you need versus the hero you deserve. Like who you need to be as a public face, and then as a private face. So this is like your sun sign and your moon sign. The moon sign representing who you are behind closed doors is who you need to be, right? Allowing that side of yourself to be expressed. I watched this morning a little clip of Priscilla Presley talking about Elvis Presley and meeting him when they very, very first met. And she said he would open up and confide to her, right? He would tell her things that he couldn't tell anyone else. Like he showed her his true face. So I don't know, that could be something for somebody, kind of channeled that message. And then I've also got, yeah, I'm a rocket ship on my way to Mars on a collision course, bat out of hell. If I'm on fire, you'll be made of ashes too. I can go anywhere I want, just not home. Star whale, the last of its kind. So the star whale in Doctor Who, they say it's from the episode The Beast Below, and the quote is, he's very old and he's very kind, and if you were very old and very kind and the absolute last of your kind, you couldn't just stand by and watch children cry. So he's this hero, right? So what was the thing about a hero? One of the songs has something about a heroine as well. Yeah, the star whale comes to rescue the humans because he cares about the children. And Doctor Who is compared to him as being very old and very kind and the last of his kind. So very, very, very good energy, not something to be feared. Wake up and let the cloak of life cling to your bones. So again, this thing about vibrations and songs and energy. I don't know who this came out for. I feel like it could have been Aquarius, but someone got that song, Wake Up. It's a little girl singing it, and it's got like a whole choir behind it, and it's beautiful. Wake up and let the cloak of life cling to your bones. So listen to that. I think it's linked in Aquarius's reading in the description box, but it's like the resonance of it, the resonance of the whole of humanity crying out at once, the whole of humanity playing the right note, being at the right frequency is like what's summoning in this star whale, this like divine help. So it's just, I don't know, it's one of those really out there readings. Again, Libra, you kind of had this last time, Aquarius had this last time, and I really enjoy these readings because I think they're a beautiful story, if nothing else, and they do kind of reflect kind of things that we're thinking about in the collective consciousness. So even though they're tinfoil hat, I think they tell us things about ourselves, and they give us good tips and good lessons for how to live on earth, live in our physical bodies in a high vibrational way. The upper world also signifies the future, very Aquarian. All right, I'm going to get you a song on camera just to kind of close out this reading, because it's a long one. I knew it was going to be a long one. Just kept getting messages. I was like, I'm going to have to do this reading because it's driving me crazy. I'm not going to be able to contain this amount, like the end of Indiana Jones, right? I can't contain this amount of information in my human brain. I have to get it out. So Dirty Thoughts by Chloe Adams is currently playing, if anyone's interested in that one. Don't know if it's anything to do with your reading or not. Right, song for Libra. Lightbulb moment, please. Demons by Imagine Dragons, right? Dust Devil, Falling Angel. When the days are cold and the cards will fold and the saints we see are all made of gold. When your dreams will fail and the ones we hail are the worst of all and the blood runs stale. I want to hide your truth. I want to shelter you. But with the beast inside, there's nowhere we can hide. No matter what we breed, we are still made of greed. This is my kingdom come. When you feel my heat, look into my eyes. It's where my demons hide. Don't get too close. It's dark inside. It's where my demons hide. At the curtain's call, it feels like it's kind of almost like the kind of Maleficent kind of character. I don't know. But she, you know, if you watch the movie, she deserves love too, right there. Bond is, you know, very beautiful. At the curtain's call, it's the last of all. When the lights fade out, all the sinners crawl. So they dug your grave, and the masquerade will come calling out at the mess you've made. I don't want to let you down, but I'm hellbound. Though this is all for you, I don't want to hide the truth. Blah, 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 kind of repeating things there. They say it's what you make. I say it's up to fate. It's woven in my soul. I need to let you go. Your eyes, they shine so bright. I want to save that light. I can't escape this now unless you show me how. So, I don't know. Storyline. Let me just see what it says on the storyline. Many people put on a smile every day, but they're really hurting. We have walls upon walls. Okay, there's that thing about the boundaries, right? Breaking through the boundaries. Walls upon walls. And sometimes it's incredibly rewarding to let them down. Vulnerability can bring deep healing. I'm honestly very bad at trusting people enough to be vulnerable. You are the Queen of Swords, which has strong boundaries in the tarot, but Demons was an attempt, at least, of acknowledging that. So not wanting to let people close because perhaps there's this idea of like maintaining the mask. We're all a little bit light and shadow, right? We're all a bit light and dark. Those energies coexist like yin and yang within us both, like this, right? So what else was I going to say? They're telling me I have the needle. Something about the two, something about, so I'm seeing it like this. It's very multidimensional, right? It's very like if you look at how many kind of mirrors are in this, it's like, there was something coming through about, you know how we normally look at the world as though we're looking at it from the outside, as though we're looking at it as a sphere that we see from outside. And it was coming through to me, again, visually, like the earth folding in on itself. So like this, right? It's almost like if you had a 3D model, like a flexible 3D model of the earth, like taking it and folding it in on itself. And it having a light in the center, like the sun is in the center and the world is around it, was the way it's coming through, which I know isn't true, but it was like being able to see the earth, the whole earth, but from a center point. So like maybe like an observatory, right? But it's like beaming a projection of the earth onto it, some strange thing like that. But it's coming through to me like with this kind of idea of multidimensionality. It's like these trees are growing, and it's like the trunks grow through. It's like the whole is representing where the these trees kind of almost thread the eye of the needle to go through some kind of gap in order to flourish and to it's like breaking through the canopy again, right? It's like they followed the light, perhaps they followed the light to shatter this glass ceiling, something like that. There's something else coming through as well before I go. So in a meditation, I had this thing about again, this idea of like being in rotating spheres. So you know those things where you kind of you spin them and you kind of like look through the crack and you see something moving. It was almost like being in the center of these 3 rotating rings, and then all of a sudden they all stopped for a second and there was an opening, like looking through the gap, right? There was an opening in all 3, like this, like an opening in all 3 cylinders, so I could go through, like almost like darting through. It's almost like an opportunity, like 3 opportunities lining up all in a row and making a run for it, right? Making a break for it is the way it was kind of coming through. So fascinating, absolutely fascinating to me. But you know, absolutely, spirit has your back. You've got these fairy blessings. You've got, it's like everyone's on your side, Libra, is the way it's coming through, because you're doing it for everyone, right? You're doing it for the greater good of all. Everyone's included in this kind of unconditional love vibration that you're resonating with. So that is why you're being chosen, because you are the fairest. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Really fascinating reading. Really interested to see like the rocket launch later today, if all goes well. It kind of got cancelled last time, which was funny to me because I don't think I said it in a reading, but I was feeling it out. I was feeling the rocket out energetically. And they were showing me like the 4 corners, right? The 4 corners of the rocket. And they were showing me one of them. It was like the third. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It was like the third one that they were showing me. It was like flapping like that. It's like everything else was fixed down and this thing was flapping. And then actually, I didn't say it in the reading. I was kicking myself for not saying it in the reading because like no one will believe me now. But it's like the reason why it didn't launch was because there was a problem with the 3rd engine. So I think it was really, really fascinating to me. So I do see the rocket launching. I do see it exiting our atmosphere. I don't know if it's going to be able to come back or not. And then I think these are probably like the bits that break off as it exits the atmosphere. Bits break off, right, and come back down to earth and come into the water. I think that's what that is. So this is looking like a successful launch to me. So very, very excited, very curious to see what happens with the Artemis launch later on today. And yeah, let's just be thankful for that kind of bird's eye view that's going to give us, for the greater understanding of our galaxy, and for the blessings that we're going to receive as humanity, because we're going to understand the physics of everything better, right? So almost like everything that we see on a grand scale is also happening on a molecular scale as well. So everything that's happening on our planet is happening in the world itself, and it's like there's a symbiotic relationship there where we can learn from each other, you know, if I'm talking about the energy of our planet and the energy of the solar system. All right, I'm gonna go. Take care of yourselves, watch out for the men in black, and I will see you again soon. Bye, tinfoil hat fans.